let me get this set up. Alright, let me make a post about this. Why isn't this showing up? There it is. Let me do this and grab the link for that and create post live. I'm not gonna make a post on YouTube just because I don't know how I would title it, but I will post this on Twitter. Live, seeing which games would make the best books. Oh, there we go. Hi, party hat. Those are all good. Let me get this pulled up on here, and then we'll be golden. Golden like a Freddy. Hi, Moon. Let me make sure YouTube Studio is good. It is perfect. Awesome. Alright. How are we doing this fine Thursday for me? My backyard. How are y'all doing today? There's a cat at the door. I'll let her in. I have a feeling I know which one it is. One sec.
Hi. Do you want to come in? Okay.
Chat, we got a cat. We got a kitty cat. Come here. No, not. No, on the bed. Jump on the bed. Okay.
Say hi. Say hi.
You gonna tell them how you've been trying to jump up on my keyboard lately? Mess up my schoolwork? No, you don't want to tell them that? Okay. Here, I'm gonna put you on my bed, okay?
Falling?
She was struggling there. Now we got Kitty. Well, I'm not gonna show you that. Now we got Kitty. Alright, well. Let me reposition myself. Today, we're gonna do a tier list that was, the idea of which was provided by Glitch. Kitty, I really want I don't want your butt on camera. Oh, thankfully the camera is so low quality you can't see it. What are you doing? Alright, we'll see what she does. Today we're going to be ranking which books, which games would make the best books. A little while back we did the opposite of that, which books would make the best games. Now we're going to do which games would make the best books. I'll show you guys this. I have 2 tier lists set up. One is for like books. The other is for interactive novels. Which ones would make the best books? Which ones would make the best interactive novels? So that's the plan for today. I guess without further ado, we can begin. Kitty has decided she's going to lay there. That works for me. Let's... I kind of want to keep her in frame still. Let's begin. So, FNaF 1 book. Also, let me change the music first. Just because I've been listening to this for a while. I've kind of been listening to this for like the past 15 minutes as I was getting everything set up. So we're gonna change that up a little. We are going to switch it up. Buttercup. If these ads want to go away. Alright. Let me know if the audio level's good, or if it's bad. If so, I will change it. But I think we're good. Alright. Oh, that does look a little loud. Alright, that should be better. That should be better. suggested that a FNAF 2 week before type book would be interesting. It would. We'll get to that. First, we got to do FNAF 1. I'm going to start with FNAF 1 as an interactive novel. I think everyone would agree that the week before is pretty much the closest thing we can ever get to a FNAF 1 interactive novel. Because it is. I mean, like, it... Yeah. A Poisonous Kiss. Yes! My favorite FNAF music. My favorite. Poisonous Kiss is just beautiful. Alright, a FNAF 1 book. So, again, like an interactive novel, I think a FNAF 1 book would be a little too similar to the week before. However, you could make it interesting if you combined FNAF 1 with the Nights of FNAF 4. Like, if you have them both take place at the same time, and it's kind of like a dual narrative, you would kind of have to give FNAF 1 more of a narrative, like the movie. But I think it could work. Yeah, week before was really good. So I'm going to rank these two together, just because I think you can make something good with those. Alright, FNAF 2. It's the only one you haven't read, Party Hat? Dude, you gotta read that. It's peak. FNAF 2. I don't... See, I feel like FNAF 2 is just too similar to FNAF 1. In, like, their gameplay styles, their... I don't know, kind of just their gameplay. The lore is different, yes, but I don't know. I don't think FNAF 2 would make a good book. Like, maybe if you have it take place in the perspective of, like, an investigator who's looking into the DCI, that could be something. For an interactive novel, I think it would just be the week before. The week before, too. But, you know. Again, make it take place as someone outside of Freddy's. Maybe you got something. It won't arrive in the mail. Womp womp. FNAF 3 as a book, I think what we found is basically just as close you can get with FNAF 3. Because again, the older games just have a repetitive gameplay loop that you really can't do much with. So I would argue what we found already did FNAF 3 in novel form. Now, as an interactive novel, don't really think there's much you can do with that. You know, it's just, I don't know. Like, even less so than FNAF 2 and 1, where there's a lot of, like, outside lore you can pick from. Fazbear's Fright doesn't even officially open in the canon. So unless you tried to, like, tie it into Happiest Day, there's just really not much you can do there. And FNAF 4 interactive novel, well, we've seen what that looks like. We read through that. It can be pretty good. No, I do think there's a lot of potential with FNAF 4. Just to, like, expand on Bite Victim as a character, and the Aftons, and you can do a whole thing where you tie it into Mike's POV in the future. FNAF 4 has a lot of potential that Scott Cawthon doesn't tap into for some reason. I'm not going to count the Halloween update in these, just because it's non-canon. FNAF World. Oh, thank you, Moon. You're too kind with your review of the book. Thank you. That was so nice. I was singing in class when I saw your tweets, and it was just, it made my day. So thank you again, Moon. And BJ appreciated it too. I shared your feedback with him, and he was happy with it. FNAF World. I don't think there's much you can do with FNAF World. Yeah. Not much you can do there. Again, this is not really something we can do. FNAF World Halloween Edition. Sister Location. This is when the games started to become more narrative-driven. Other than, like, FNAF 4's gameplay. I mean, Nightmares. Mini-games, my god. Got that wrong twice. I think Sister Location has a lot of potential in book form, but I think interactive novel form would be better. I'm I might just be biased in that because I wrote an interactive novel on Sister Location, but I just feel like it's one of those installments that would just benefit more from you having like choices of where to explore. But as a book, I still think it would be fine because you can still do a lot in book form. Yeah, great potential. Custom Night isn't canon, so we won't touch that. That's true. That is true, Backyard. Didophobia is basically FNaF 4 in book form. I didn't think about that. That's a good catch. That's a good catch, yeah. That's a good catch. Oh, now I don't know. All right, do we put FNaF 4 in already exists for book wise, or do we keep it there? Because that is true. It does pretty much exist. I'm gonna move it there. That's that. Okay, all right. I'm glad you called that out, Backyard, because that's a really good catch. It does pretty much exist, and I don't think a book of FNaF 4's minigames would work as well as an interactive novel. So, good catch. Good catch. FNaF 6 as a book, I don't think would be all that well. I don't think it would be that interesting. Because I think it would work better as an interactive novel. Obviously, FNaF 6 already has multiple endings. It's, literally a Build Your Own Pizzeria Tycoon, so it's based off of your choices. So an interactive novel based on that would be really well. Really well. Ultimate Custom Night, I'm going to say the book for that already exists. You can't really do much with Afton's POV inside of his mind, just because it's, again, same repetitive gameplay. But the Man in Room 1280, I think, is the closest thing you can get to a book on Ultimate Custom Night. Yeah, FNaF 6 would just be buy this or buy that. True. True. Interactive novel, I don't think it would be that well. Oh my god, it's nobody! Nobody, it's been forever since you showed up. How are you doing? Alright, I don't know why FNaF AR is ahead of these. Alright, Help Wanted. See, Help Wanted I'm a little split on, because you could make the argument that Prankster and Help Wanted, like the book, the story, are already books based off of Help Wanted the game. You could also make a good argument for there being a lot of story potential in the development of the VR game, which I guess Prankster already does, so okay. Interactive novel form, I think you would have to do it from the perspective of, like, Vanessa in the VR game, or maybe Jeremy, that could be cool, Tape Girl. So I'll put that at C tier. I can see it, but it would take a lot of fandangling. Curse of Dreadbear. I can't really see anything for Curse of Dreadbear, just being honest. FNaF AR? FNaF AR, you would have to dive more. You would either have to commit to, like, the delivery service itself, like tell a story of the people who are running that. And maybe there's, like, some story potential there with, like, they try to stop Glitchtrap from infecting their systems, but it doesn't work. Or, opposite side of that, you could do a story where it's, like, the perspective of some random person, and it's, like, a home invasion story. Or you could do both. Like how the Mimic has it, like, a 50-50 split. That could be cool. Novel from the POV of either Jeremy or Vanessa would be really good. I agree. Especially Vanessa. I don't know if I've ever said this on like YouTube, but I have on Twitter. Like a novel trilogy, like the original novels, but from the POV of Gregory and Vanessa in the modern era would be so good. It would go so hard. Oh my god. Just like getting to spend time with those characters over the span of 3 long books is exactly what they need. I'm going to put FNaF AR in B tier for books. Interactive novels, I'm going to put it C tier. Just because, yeah. Yeah, we need more Vanessa characterization. 100% agree. There's not much you can do with the troll games, so I'm just going to throw those there. Security breach. You know, if you think about it, security breach is just one big tail from the Pizzaplex. I'm not going to put security breach in the already exists category for either of these, just because I think Tales is different enough where it's not security breach, and Escape the Pizzaplex isn't really that close to security breach at all. So we're not going to do those. We'll count them as their own thing. I think a book based off security breach would be fine, but I think it would be better as an interactive novel. Because security breach already has like a lot of choices built into it with like, do you want to go to El Chips or do you want to go to the kitchen? Do you want to dismantle Roxy? I mean, not Roxy, Chica. Or do you want to dismantle Monty? So there's a lot of potential with it in interactive novel form. And again, it has multiple endings. So I think that could work really well. Book form, not so much, but maybe. Maybe. Yeah, there are already a lot of books at the Pizzaplex. That is true. Security breach would work well. Same with Ruin. Yeah, Ruin, I think would work better than security breach in book form. Yeah, that's a good idea, Moon. Someone breaking in before Cassie, like an urban explorer. I like that idea. Yeah, and I can see that being a cool interactive novel too. So I think Ruin has good potential. Plus, it's more linear than Security Breach, which lends itself more to book form. Chica in space, I don't really think you could do that much with. Help Wanted 2, I don't think would make that good of a book. But an interactive novel could be cool. Maybe like from the POV of Cassie's dad before he ends up in the network. Like the virtual world. Maybe. I'm gonna move that up. Maybe. Help Wanted. The Help Wanted games are just really limiting. Because of like how they are. Imagine an interactive novel of Security Breach that Scott writes as his original vision of the game. As non-canon. that would be heartbreaking. Alright, Into the Pit is the rare case where we have to throw both of these into already exists, because obviously it started out as a book, and there's also an interactive novel of it, so we can't really do much with it there. And I guess last, because these games just don't work at all, Secret of the Mimic already exists as a book with the Mimic. Chat, what do we think of a Secret of the Mimic interactive novel? I think it could work if you make it take place in like the POV of like a technician before Arnold. I think it could work. I keep spitting. It would cure you. Oh. Yeah. I think it could work. Plus, like, the Mimic. Plus, you know, Murray's Costume Manor has a lot of, like, areas that would be good for exploring. Lots of, like, tight spaces, lots of hallways and corridors. And plus, you know, having to avoid the Mimic would be really good, too. So, I think that would work. And that's it. There we go. Well, how much time are we at? Dang, that took us less than 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I go, go gadget. We just finished the tier lists. So this is the tier list for how well the games would be turned into books. Honestly, I don't think they would. Any of the games would be like great as just pure books. I think books is something that you really have to do for like an alternate universe. Like the novel trilogy or like the movie has with their adaptations. Or for, like stories just focused on the characters like Vanessa. Interactive novels, though, I think there's a lot of potential there. Honestly, I would say interactive novel format is the best format FNaF has ever had for books. Just because it lends itself so nicely to, like, having different paths that have lore, but they're not necessarily canon, but we can still take those. Like the fake ending in Sister Location. So, case in point, I want to see more interactive novels from this franchise. I think we're desperately overdue for one, but it seems like Scott is the kind of person who, once he does one type of book, like the novel trilogy, he doesn't want to do it again. He wants to try different things, which is why we got the logbook, the guidebooks, the interactive novels, Ticket to Fun. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see another Ticket to Fun type book or another novel trilogy. As much as I think we need those, the anthology books were kind of an exception, but because of, like, the feedback on, like, some of the stories and the lore, I don't think we're going to get another set of those again. Yeah, I would love another interactive novel, though. Partially, that's partially part of the reason why me and BJ made the Big Bite interactive novel, just because we feel like that's such a cool medium for FNaF. There's so much you can do there. Yeah, they're really fun. All right. Oh, you can't even see her anymore. I mean, that took way. I thought that was gonna take way longer. I thought it would take us at least like 40 minutes. Now what? Chat, now what? I have another. I'm gonna pause the music. I do have another idea for a live stream, but we're not gonna do it today. It would take too long. Oh no. It's glitch. Glitch. We already finished. Glitch. That took way long. That took way quicker than I thought it would. So this is the tier list on how well the games would be books. Most of them would be better as interactive novels, which we did here. Yeah. And now we're yeah, that was short. That was how long did the other stream take us? Hang on, I gotta look that up. There's no way the other live stream took longer than this. There's no way. Oh, I just got a bite victim being the vengeful spirit video on my recommended page. Oh, jeez. It took us an hour to do this? How did it take us an hour to find out which books would be the best games? But we finished games into books, which had 2 tier lists, in 20 minutes. How the heck? That was short. What the heck? That was so much shorter than I thought it would be. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I mean, there's not... Oh, okay, never mind. I just realized there's like 50 books and like 10 games, so never mind. Well, if you have any ideas, drop them in chat. How good each FNaF game would be in real time. I can see that. My only issue there is that, like, some of the later games that wouldn't really apply for, like Secret of the Mimic, maybe. The Help Wanted games, I don't think. Ruin, not really. Reaction stream or something. Guys, let's watch Glitch's Pizzaplex video before it releases. I was actually thinking for like I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'd be down to do a reaction video. I just don't know what we would react to. I was thinking of at one point of doing. Oh, you said after FNAF 6 wouldn't count. Oh, my bad. My bad. I was thinking of doing a music, like a FNAF songs tier. And I didn't see that, nobody. FNAF songs tier list. But my issue there is that I would have to listen to a lot of them, and then I would get copywritten. I don't make money from this anyway, but I don't like having copyright strikes. I don't like having copyrighted videos. Gregory ate the Pizzaplex Part 2. I mean, hey, Glitch, I'd be down if you want to send them in chat. If you guys have any ideas, because we finished in 20 minutes. But Go Gadget, for your idea, I'll just quickly run through it now, just because I don't think it's really worth doing a tier list over if we're just doing like the first 6 games. FNAF 1 would probably be second easiest. FNAF 2 would be terrible. I would hate that. I think FNAF 2 would honestly be the worst to do in like real time. FNAF 3 would probably be the best, just because it's Springtrap can only kill you. FNAF 4 would kind of be middle tier. Like, yeah, having to survive that gameplay loop for 6 hours would kind of be really stressful, but it's a nightmare. You can just wake up from it. Sister Location would probably be the best, minus the Ennard boss fight, because I still haven't beaten that anyway. And FNAF 6 would probably be leaning on the side of difficulty. Yeah. Secret of the Mimic in real time. Links aren't clickable in chat. Actually, you know what we could do? Let me pull this up. I don't know. I'll see what... Chat, I was going to say we could take another look at the theories tier list, because it updated 4 days ago, and I don't think we've seen it since then. We could look at some of the stuff on there if you guys want. Oh, I was very confused by this. Okay. They added letters to help like break everything up. I was confused. I just saw like B, C, D. I was so confused. What the hell are these theories? What the hell are some of these theory names? T theory? Yeah, we'll do this first, then I'll take a look at that video glitch. All right, obviously we're not going to go through all of these. Let's look at the fun ones though. These ones are pretty boring. Boring. Will care tier. Yeah. Talesgames and debunked. I don't know why they don't have Talesgames Plus on here. Because they did what they might have actually. Almost all of these theories are taken from the theories wiki. Oh no, Talesgames Plus is on here. Who was the president during FNAF 3? I look like an older Garrett. Hey, get rid of the facial hair. I can see it. Balloon bite victim. Shadow MM. Yeah, there's some rough ones on here. There's some rough ones. I kind of don't know where to begin. There's just so many. Mike Accomplice. I like this one. I think it is canon to an extent. I'm going to put it top of 50-50. Because it does make sense, you know, with the movies and what we know about Mike's character. and his whole speech in sister location, I do think it makes sense if he's like an accomplice up until sister location. Oh god, sister location 83? That can't be real. Why is it... Okay. Well. Well. Yeah, this one's debunked. I had to think about that. Because hand unit says, you know, after the success and even more so the unfortunate closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Freddy's doesn't close until 85, so this theory is dead on arrival. This location takes place tomorrow. Ah! No. No. talesgames Plus and B tier. Oh. I got you, Glitch. I got you. I do kind of wish we did like a version of this instead where it was like how much I believe them. Like how much I believe the theories. Not so much how confirmed or debunked they are. In fact, if you guys want to do that, I would be down to like reset this tier list and only rank the ones that I believe in. So like a silly theory like balloon bite victim we wouldn't touch, but like, you know, I don't know. BV Afton is one we would do. If you want, we could do that. Because I have seen on like the FNaF Reddit, that's how some people do like their theories and what they believe in, so I would be down to do that. Theory about a not even real animatronic in FNAF 6. I don't know what you're talking about. There's so much here. Alright. I can't reset it. I can't reset it. We spent so long on this. Oh, that hurt. Alright, we're doing it. All that work down the drain, but we did it. Okay, so we're gonna rank let's get music. We're gonna rank these based on how much I believe them, and if they're like so out there, or if it's something I don't even consider, I'm not gonna rank it. Rockstar Fredbear. Some of those theories. All right, let's. Nope, not mad. That did kind of hurt a little. That did really hurt. But, you know, I like this idea. Yeah, that was kind of... Oh. Hey, Glitch, go for it. I think that's a good idea for a stream. Alright, Jackie, let's do this. So, I'm going to change this to... Whoops. No, I'll keep this confirmed. This STR I'll rename to Believe 100%. Believe. This is going to be 50-50. This is going to be maybe. This is going to be not at all. This is going to be debunked. Alright, here's what we got. Do you think 9/11 happened? Oh my god. Yes, I do. Okay, that was a crazy comment. Yendo is a prototype of an older Funtime Freddy. Yes, I agree. That was crazy. Alright. Don't forget Will Care. No. So. And debunked can also be for theories that I used to believe but don't believe anymore, because they were debunked. 1 after 2 is confirmed, and I never doubted that for a second. Yeah, I never thought this was canon, so. You got the proof for Will Care. We got Gibby in chat. 4 after 1. Weird they don't have 4 during 1. That's a pretty big one. 4 during 3 I've seen, but not 4 during 1. That's interesting. If I had to choose a theory for when FNAF 4's nightmares take place, I would put it after FNAF 1. Chat is dogging on 14 theory. We love to see it. What is 14 theory? So 14 theory states that in the Toy Chica the High School Years cutscenes, the locker that has the number 14 on it is slanted. Just like... Didn't realize caps lock was on. The locker that has 14 on it is slanted, just like Golden Freddy's icon at its facing. And Golden Freddy is number 14 on this roster, facing Springtrap. And I guess that somehow means that Cassidy is the vengeful spirit. Don't ask me how. Abby Beth? This is the theory that Abby represents and parallels Elizabeth in the movies? I believe that. But if we do ever get a sister location movie, and we see Elizabeth exists, then I would not believe it as much. Yeah. Adult theory is confirmed. Let's not beat around the bush here. No, Moon, you will not. Afton MM was confirmed by 5 Laps at Freddy's. I've always believed Midnight Motorist is about the Aftons. Now, who I think the Runaway is, that has changed, but I've always thought it was about the Aftons. Agony Tangle. This is the theory that the Tangle is made out of agony. That's what I believe. Arnold. We need more Arnold theories. Yeah, I do think the Blob is made out of agony. Just the way the Tales epilogues describe the pile of bodies that the Mimic creates in the FNaF 6 location, to me that sounds like it's building up to be the Tangle. So, yeah. Who do you think the Runaway is? Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Alleyway Aftons, I'm 50-50 on. Obviously, the parallel works with, Elizabeth being the circus clown, Bite Victim being the bear, William being the guy in the suit controlling the puppet, Michael. That works. But the artist who created the art, I don't know who it is. It might be like Lady Fitzy or Pinky, I don't know. They said that they didn't get any instructions from Scott to make it that way. So I can see it being intentional from the artist, but maybe not from Scott. Arnold is the Help Wanted 2 player. No, we're not ranking all the theories. We're just ranking the ones I believe in. So I guess we really don't need the debunked tier then. We'll just leave it to these. Yeah, we're just doing ones I believe in. Alright. Andrew time. Also, I'll move this one up because I can see that being intentional too. No, Alter Duo I think is another one. I don't know. Alright, Andrew. Andrew. Chat, are you ready for my take on Andrew? Do they even have it on here? I guess they do. I think Andrew is the vengeful spirit. I won't put it in confirmed tier because it's not confirmed. But I believe 100% Andrew is the vengeful spirit behind Ultimate Custom Night. I want to put him in confirmed, but dumbasses on Twitter will still fight you on it. They'll still fight you on it. This stream's gonna crash. Not again, not again. Now, do I think... when do I think Andrew dies? That's another question. I think... Hi, Joey. No! He scared me. I think Andrew dies before the missing children incident victims. Purely because of Return to the Pit. And maybe Toy Chica the High School Years. There is compelling evidence in the Into the Pit game that he dies after them. But to me, it just makes the most sense if he's the body that Oswald finds 2 days before in Return to the Pit. I made a whole video on this. Go watch that if you want my full thoughts. Oh yeah, no. Cassidy being the vengeful spirit isn't a bad theory at all. And I did believe that for a while. But I just think Andrew's more likely now. Anti-Dream is confirmed. Dream theory is dead and buried. And I don't think any of these other Andrew theories are really canon. I think most of them are just slop. Andrew Witness is nice, but kind of doesn't work with Andrew pre-MCI. None of these Arnold theories I'm not a fan of. I think Arnold's just some guy. Yeah, Joey, we finished the books tier list. Now we're ranking the theories that I believe in. Because it's all about me. My superhero movie. It'll be all about me. Yeah, I don't really believe any of these. I'm actually surprised there's not more Arnold theories, to be honest. Arnold Driver. Glitch, how could you villainize our poor Arnold like that? That's fair, Go Gadget. That's fair. Arnold would never. Let's see. Baffled killers, maybe, but I think it would have to be an additional reason. So if you don't know, baffled killers is the theory that the animatronics in FNaF 1 attack you because they think you're William. Partially this is true because Mike says so in Sister Location, but the week before has them attack Ralph for a different reason. So I can maybe see this being part of the reason, but not the reason. Yeah, all the Arnold theories are slop. Ballora Fiona? Never seen that before. This is a good one. BB Location 0. This is the theory that Balloon Boy was at the first Freddy's. I believe it. In Ticket to Fun, there's a lot of imagery around the original Core 4 animatronics. The puppets there, which obviously, ties into Charlie dying at Freddy's, which we learned in that book. Balloon Boy's included. To me, that seems like pretty solid evidence that Balloon Boy was at the first Freddy's. Plus, we know he's a character that existed during the Fall Fest days, thanks to Help Wanted 2. So, I might bring that down to 50-50, actually. But, I like that theory. I like that theory. Yeah. BV being the vengeful spirit. What's next? That's fair, Joey. That's fair. That's fair. Blob theories. Epilogue victims. This is what I believe. I'll put that next to Agony Tangle, because I think it's a combination of the two. I think it's the epilogue victim's agony, to be specific. Blonde kid theories about the blonde kid in the movie. I would say he's just some guy. I don't think he's any of these. I don't think he's Cassidy. I don't think he's Andrew. I think he's just his own character. Books secondary canon? Yes and no. I'm going to leave that for now. We'll come back to that. Both canon ending, I would say, is confirmed. Scott himself has said that, the answer to which ending in FNaF 3 is complicated. There's no reason for him to say that if both the bad ending and good ending aren't canon, just at different times. Yeah, Party Hat dipped. The second he saw the tier list, the theory tier list, he was like, get me out of here. Burn Mimic. this one's confirmed. This one's confirmed. Because the vent that leads to Burntrap's lair in Ruin has the exact same fingerprint as the vent leading to Mimic's lair in Ruin. Confirming they're the two. I don't know why people think he's William Afton. Hi, IDEC. We finished the books tier list. Now we're doing theories that I believe in. Burn Mimic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Chat, what do we think of the theories I've ranked so far? Do we see any controversial ones? Or does chat vibe with what we have so far? Because I'm sure once we get into like the books and stuff, then that's gonna... Yeah. Don't believe any of these. Michael Brooks, I think, is just a guy. BV83 is confirmed, obviously. BV Afton is confirmed because of the staff bot silo in Security Breach. It shows a Circus Baby bot. It shows a Ballora-esque bot. It shows an employee bot. It shows a magician bot, and it shows a headless bot. That's the Aftons. No way about it. Fight Victim is an Afton. Andrew post MCI. Yeah. Honestly, when Andrew dies, as long as you put him with the MCI, that's all I really care about. Yeah. BV Born 76. This theory stems from the cake in Curse of Dreadbear having 7 candles. I personally believe this. It's not confirmed whatsoever, but it's nothing that hurts it. BV83 is confirmed. Scott said, actually, let me make sure I have this theory correct, because it might be something else. Why is it saying was? Oh, because now it's a fact. Yeah, BV83 was confirmed when Scott said, hey, I don't like to comment on timelines or theories, but this was a very satisfying episode of Game Theory, blah, blah, blah. If you have, he was talking about people who debated the byte being 83 or 87. He said, watch MatPat's video. In that video, MatPat said it was the byte of 83. Plus, the week before has the phone call to get to the FNaF 4 byte minigame being 1983. Oh my god, BJ's here. When did I get into FNaF? I actually don't know, and that really frustrates me. It really frustrates me. Also, I'm going to change the music. It really frustrates me that I don't remember when I got into FNaF. I don't know if it was around the days of 2 or 4. I was a fan by Sister Location, because I remember watching Dawko analyze those teasers, but I don't remember, and I hate that. Also, I'm just changing the music. Giving my voice a rest. I should have grabbed water before this. Alright. Back to this. Alright. Play victim theories. BV first. Okay, let's bite the bullet. Let's bite the bullet. I think Bite Victim died first. Also, I love these, like, sprites. That's really cool. Like, I love that look for them. I think Bite Victim died first. I used to flip-flop on this a lot, whether it was Bite Victim who died first or Charlie who died first. Since Secret of the Mimic showed us that that house in the woods does become Afton's, to me that says, okay, they have to be living somewhere. We see a house in the FNaF 4 minigames that's pretty different to the one that we see in Midnight Motorist. To me, it makes sense if they start out living in the neighborhood next to Fredbear's, the bite happens, then they move out into the woods, then Charlie dies because, Midnight Motorist. Yeah, maybe it's not that controversial of a take as it used to be, but it's still, I would say, one of the biggest debates. 6, 7. For 6 or 7 years. Okay, well, they put the runaway theory here, so now I should probably address that. Don't know what that was. Yeah, the only reason I went on that rant is because I know BJ believes in Charlie first, which is completely fine. Who do I think the runaway is in Midnight Motorist? Well, I just said I think Bite Victim dies before they move into that house, so Mike Runaway, wherever it is. My god, there's so many Michael theories. I think Michael is the runaway. I think Mike's the runaway. Yeah, I saw that glitch. Yeah, for some reason, I would have thought Stick would have believed the house theories 100%. Yeah, I watched his video where he went over, like, Fazburger, I think. He doesn't believe it for some reason. That's so weird to me. Stick strikes me as the kind of person that, like, I thought would have 100% believed there's 2 Afton houses, but he's firm on there only being 1. I was very surprised by that. Very surprised by that. What theory do I wish was true? That's a very loaded question. I don't know. Can it be one that already was debunked? Because, in that case, Talesgames. Talesgames. Yeah, Stick's very firm on everything. That's fair. That's true. Stick is the kind of theorist you want to have on your side, but you do not want to debate against. Yeah. Yeah, Talesgames. Alright, the rest of these B theories are pretty mid. I don't believe any of them. So on to C. Cassidy theories. I think Cassidy is very clearly a girl, and I would argue that's confirmed. I would argue Cassidy is confirmed to be a girl. I had a debate with someone on Twitter yesterday where they were trying to say that the genders of the characters between continuities can change when we've never seen that to be the case. Cassidy is a girl in the 4th closet. She's probably the girl in the survival logbook, and she's the girl in Return to the Pit, probably. Yeah. We're debating FNaF theories. That's so cool. I don't know. Yeah, Cassidy is a girl. I don't... Yeah. Yeah. I'll leave it there. Cassidy Receiver is another one I know where I'm going to put. I would say Return to the Pit confirmed that Cassidy is the receiver of Happiest Day. Yeah. I would say Return to the Pit confirmed this. Edwina created the Shemek. Yeah. Yeah. Those are all the Cassidy theories, I would say. Charlie 83 is confirmed. Maybe. I'll move that down. Transity, I know that theory. Charlie Freddy's is confirmed. I know nobody. I know you doubt the credibility of the Ticket to Fun book, but to me, this theory is confirmed. With, you know, Ticket to Fun and the movies. Yeah. Who do you think the Golden Freddy spirit is in the movies? I think Golden Freddy Kid is just his own character. I don't think he's Andrew. I don't think he's Cassidy. I don't think he's Michael Brooks. Just because, you know. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's his own character. Charlie pre-MCI, obviously. Obviously. What else? A lot of Charlie theories. Yeah, I think that's all those. Chica theories, I don't really believe any of those. I don't think the 4 a.m. ending is canon in Secret of the Mimic. D theories. Dude, David being the vengeful spirit kind of annoys me. That's a theory that I do not like. Oh yeah, I know about Bite by Night. I haven't played Bite by Night, and I've only watched Dawko play it like once. Not really my kind of game, but I like it. It looks good though. Desk Scott, I would put this one in confirmed. I don't know why people think or even thought that Desk Guy in FNaF World was Henry. He says, you deactivated my games. Freddy in Space. Hang on. Freddy in Space, he says, what are you doing here? This is my game. Why did this loop? Why didn't that loop? That was looping for like a good 5 minutes. I had it on loop. I think YouTube's evil. That's a little weird. No, I don't think Clock Out ending is canon either. Because it leaves the story exactly where it left off. Yeah, David can't be the vengeful spirit. Cassidy does have more evidence, yeah. Henry transcends time and space. True. True. David Receiver, too. Like, oh my god. Guys. There comes a point. Didophobia. I think Didophobia happens before Sister Location. But there's evidence for both sides. And even then, yeah. There's evidence for both sides, but I do think Didophobia happens before Sister Location. Dreadbear antivirus. This is, part of the F10 antivirus theory, so I believe it. David Receiver is the theory that David is the receiver of Happiest Day, which is an absolutely insane take that I don't even know the evidence for. Probably has to do with, like, Moon.exe, actually. Dream Theory is canon, obviously. We can just leave that. Yeah. Edwin theories. Alright, well. I think Edwin survives. I think Edwin lives past his encounter with M2. The main reason I say that is because, in the parachute ending, M2 leaves Arnold to die. If that's something that M2 does, where he just trusts that his victims will die and leaves him there, I don't see why the same can't be true with Edwin. He leaves Edwin trapped under the rubble, his legs don't work, Mimic leaves thinking Edwin's gonna die. Edwin's able to get himself out of there. I can see that happening. So I'm gonna put this in believe 100%. Plus, I think some version of the storyteller happens, so. Bye, iDeck. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, you're good, Coco Gadget. Edwin Frightguard. Yeah. Edwin Wallcode, I also believe 100%, which, again, requires him to live. The rest of these are kind of mid. Eleanor. Eleanor games. I'm going to look this one up just because I think I know what it's talking about, but... Okay, she does exist in the... Okay, yeah. I think Eleanor does exist in the games because she shows up in Into the Pit, and Into the Pit is a game, so... Dude, Flick EF. Edwin is my Flight God. Alright, Elizabeth's death, I think she dies in 1985 because of the 1578 code in Sister Location. I believe that 100%. Can't sway my mind on it. What do you think of the theory that Edwin is Old Man Consequences? I've said this before. If I had to choose an identity for Old Man Consequences, it would be Edwin. But I don't believe it. But I don't hate the idea of it. For like an AU, I think it's good. Old Man Edwin burning down Fazbear Fright. It's even crazier if you think he's the player in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. All these Elizabeth theories are kind of mid. I think she's pre-MCI. Eliza Youngest, I do believe this 100% because of the movies and Flower Aftons. My peak theory. What would the lore be after FNaF 6 if you were Scott Cawthon? What would you change about it? I wouldn't change anything. I would just make it clearer on two things. I would make it clear that William Afton is dead and gone, and it's just the Mimic. And I would also clear up the canonicity of the books, because that's a debate we should not have had to have. Fleekin' silly. You're a silly rascal. Eliza Room, I would also say this one's one that I believe 100% because of the FNaF AR Mangle teaser. FNaF 1 2003. Yeah, dude, there's so many FNaF 1 theories. Ennard theories, don't really know any of those. F10, no. Okay. Fazburger. I know, Glitch is probably going to kill me about this. I don't like Fazburger. I think it's silly if almost all the games take place in the same spot of land. To me, the only thing that happens to the missing children. To me, the only thing that happens to the MCM land is it gets destroyed. The land under is used for sister location and the nightmare experiments. And then maybe the Pizzaplex is built there, but I don't think Fazburger is as true as people think it is. Faz Cake. What's Fazburger? It's the theory that the plot of land where MCM is built becomes the plot of land where almost every location is built, and that just keeps going down into the earth in like a Fazburger. Nightmare Fredbear Burger? That's what I believe. Yeah, I don't like Fazburger. I can see it being the case. I'll put it into maybe, but yeah. Oh, you don't even believe that? Okay. Glad to know I haven't insulted you too much. Faz Force canon ending. I think both endings in Help Wanted 2 are canon. Again, that's another thing that Stick... I don't know, we're dogging on Stick on this stream. That's another thing that Stick doesn't believe. For some reason, Stick doesn't think that both endings in Help Wanted 2 are canon. I don't see a problem with that at all. Poppy Playtime. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Fazent 70s, I would say, is confirmed. Obviously, because of Secret of the Mimic. Dude, why is it not looping? Fine. We'll go through the entire track, then. You think it's MCM's sister location, maybe FNaF 4, 6, and the Pizzaplex? I agree with MCM, sister location, and FNaF 4. Maybe FNaF 6, maybe the Pizzaplex. Maybe. Maybe. Pre-70s? Ooh. Maybe? I'll move this one around, actually. I'll put it in 50-50. I either think Fazbear Entertainment was created in 1970 or the 1960s. I guess Caroline agrees. Yeah, why does a toy factory need a prison? Yeah, that's fair, Glitch. You know, now that you guys are saying it, I can kind of see why the pizza place would be there. Because, I used to believe that FNAF 6 was Fredbear's because of the same alleyway where Charlie died, but Charlie dies at Freddy's, and, that first Freddy's where she dies becomes Jeff's Pizza. And obviously, Jeff's Pizza can't be FNAF 6 because they exist around the same time, so FNAF 6 is probably a new building entirely, meaning it can be there, and that would line up if sister location is under the... Okay, 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 okay. Alright, where is it? Where's Fazburger? Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Where is Fazburger? Am I blind? Where's... Oh, maybe. Alright. Alright, I can see it. Alright. You guys just watched me click to Fazburger. Yeah, okay. I don't love the FNAF 6 building being so close to Afton's old house, but it could have gotten demolished. Okay. Good job, chat. Good job. That is crazy, Joey. Yeah, Glitch, I know exactly what you're talking about. Alright. Just had a breakthrough. Between the 50s and the 70s, because of the Fredbear record? Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. I agree 100%, PJ. 100%. I think FNAF 6 takes place in 2023. Believe that 100%. Same with FNAF 3, but we'll get to that. Don't think any of these. Flower Aftons! Oh, my beloved. My beloved. Oh, my baby. I mean, it's not my... I don't know why I like Flower Aftons so much. I didn't even make the theory, but it's just... I love it like it's my child. No, party hat. I just had to process like the implications for it. But yeah, no, I do think I believe Fazburger now. Eliza movies. Actually, what is that? Oh, Eliza movies is the theory that Elizabeth exists in the movies, and she just died before Charlie. I think it could be true. I think FNAF 1 takes place in 93. I think the week before pretty much confirms that, with Ralph's work schedule lining up with Capellia's school schedule. Joey's realizing how little he knows. Yeah, FNAF 3 I think takes place in 2023. I would say purely because in what we found, I think almost every single character's age is 23. That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. Bernie's just another me. What's Flower Aftons? I have a YouTube short coming on that within the next week, so stay tuned for that, party hat. Follow Me 2015. I believe it, because I think Vanessa is an Afton in the games. That kind of necessitates her to be born on the later side, which would be 2015. FNAF Utah, I would say, is confirmed. I understand why people would say FNAF UK because of Midnight Motorist, I'm assuming, but FNAF Utah is confirmed. Freddy Boy confirmed. I know the evidence for that is Freddy going into the girls' bathroom and probably having a girl's laugh, but like, don't forget the mustard. Okay, we get to the Fazbear Frights theories now. Chat, if you want to know my super woke opinion on the books, I think I think Stitchline and I think talesgames is still canon. But any story that directly contradicts the games is out of here. The Mimic, What We Found, Coming Home, those are all gone. Those are all gone. So, that's my very controversial opinion on the books. So I don't think there's a theory name for that. I know talesgames has talesgames plus, but the books don't have anything like that. So we'll just keep it there, I guess. Once we get to Stitchline, I'll throw it in, I believe. Gabriel theories, no. Garrett, I don't think we know enough about Garrett in the movies to say what happens to him. But I will put Garrett Victim up here, because I do think that's the most likely candidate for his name. Party Hat agrees with Bernie. Let's go! Let's go! Glam Arnold. Moon, I'm gonna need your thoughts on Glam Arnold as a theory. Garrett Bernie. Dude, I can, like, if I like brush my hair and like bring it outwards, it does kind of get like Garrett's. I think if you just hide my facial hair. Maybe. Autocorrect thinks Bernie is a girl. Moon does not approve of Glam Arnold. Yeah, I think Glamrock Freddy is literally... And the entire band is just AI. That's the entire point of the modern era, is AI, so... Yeah, why would he be a Glamrock now? Bunch of these... Glitch both. Where's... Glitch... Staring right at it. Glitch Mimic. I think this one is one that I believe 100%, and I would say it's confirmed. Tickets, please. We're just letting this playlist run through now. I don't care about looping it. Doesn't want to work? Fine. Also, we haven't used the Not At All tier. I'm going to get rid of this, just because any theories I don't believe in, we're not putting up there. Okay. God David. Not a fan. Not a fan. I like the... This is how I feel about all of T. Dread's theories. No disrespect to him. He's a really funny guy. I'm sure he's great. I think almost all of his theories are kind of bad. I think I like the memes around them. Like, I like God David. And I like the meme of 14 Theory, but I don't like them as actual theories. No, Moon. You need to get angrier. Glam Arnold is a very weird theory. Golden theories. I think it's either Golden Duo or Shatter Victim. But right now I lean towards a mix of both of them, so I'll put Believe there. Why do you think William killed Garrett in the movies? I don't know. I have no idea. I think it might just be a case of wrong place, wrong time. But it takes place in an entirely different state than the movies, so I think it seriously might just be William just so happened to be on vacation at the same spot the Schmidts were. I think, as stupid as that sounds, I think that might be it. Because as far as we know, Mike isn't related to William. So, yeah. For S's and G's. Hi, Joey. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, the rest of these are all kind of mid. Golden footprints, though. I feel like this might be a controversial opinion. I think Golden Freddy is the footprints in Midnight Motorist. Now, before you get all heated at me, just mainly for thematic reasons, the idea of Michael being lured out of his room by his brother to visit the mound, that really works for me. Plus, the movie shows Golden Freddy luring Abby to Freddy's. I know. Bite Victim can't see inside of Golden Freddy. That's his whole thing. We don't know if that's just a side effect of Cassidy entering the suit with him. This might be one of my most controversial opinions on here, but I do think Golden Freddy's the footprints. Because I think either him or Shadow Freddy. Shadow Freddy maybe, because, the bite I still think happens first. But, I don't see where Shadow Freddy would be taking him. I'm sorry, Glitch. Seriously, this is look, if Five Laps at Freddy's says it's someone else, then I'll believe it. But for now, I don't see any reason. I won't say that. All the Arnold theories. Heck, I don't think there's not as many as Andrew, so it wouldn't be that bad. Yeah, we'll leave it there. This is very appropriate music for this. Moving on. Oh. No. Alright, yeah, Golden Theories, all slop. Green Afton is peak. Green Afton's peak. No. Greg 46 is confirmed by talesgames. Five Laps at Freddy's is what Chica's Secret Party was rumored to be. Here's another maybe hot take. I don't think Chica's Secret Party ever was or is going to be a thing. I really think it's just Scholastic had an issue where they had some pages they need to be filled to meet a quota or whatever. So they got in contact with Scott. Scott said, okay, I got you guys. He typed up all that stuff and gave them the images, and then that's how Chica's Secret Party was born. Because, the way the Chica's Secret Party section is written, Scott wrote that. It mentions the box, Midnight Motorist, Gray Man, all stuff Scott knows that we debate over. And it's called, Scott's Minigame Guide. Come on, Scott wrote that. Chica's Secret Party, just a joke. Just filler. Never meant to be anything. That's my take on it. Chat, do we think Gregory is an Afton? Yeah, I think it's one big troll. Guts theory. I actually... Isn't Guts theory just the theory that the animatronics are stuffed with the guts of, the victims? I hate that theory. Again, D-Dreads. What are you smoking, my guy? Happiest Day Memories, I do believe this 100%. I think Happiest Day is the memories of Bite Victim. Yeah, it's Scott's biggest troll. 100%. Yeah. I think Happiest Day is post UCN because I think Cassidy talks to Old Man Consequences and then joins the others and rests. I do believe this one. Also, I completely forgot to do this. Chat is working. Okay, if you remember last stream, towards the end, it stopped working, stopped updating. It is now. Good. Into the Pit time travel. Also, I don't know why I haven't been charging my phone this entire time. Because that's how I'm reading chat, and it's at 10%. So, one sec. Let me just plug this in. You didn't see anything. Hey, I remember you. I remember you. Rip Scott Cawthon. I remember I put you in timeout all those months ago. I remember you. Don't think I won't do it again, buddy. I remember you. I remember you. Also, why'd the music stop? Okay. I remember you. Do you think Andrew is the only spirit in UCN? The only one actively torturing him? Yes, but I do think the other missing children incident victims are there, just unwillingly. Because, you know, Withered Bonnie says, "What is this, no prison? Is it me trapped, or is it you? Perhaps it's us both." Yeah. Henry theories, nah. None of those. Help Wanted 2 protagonist. I think the protagonist of Help Wanted 2 is Jeremy from FNaF VR. It's never confirmed that his face getting... It's never confirmed his face was cut off fully. The mask on the ground Tape Girl sees could just be a Vanny mask. Or like a Vanny-esque mask. I think Candy Cadet's second story confirms, to me at least, that it's the same Jeremy. Yeah. I don't think he's Jeremy Fitzgerald. The week before shot that theory dead in the water. Thank God. And I also do think he is the Bonnie Bully. I think this one's more confirmed. Because of the mask. We almost lost Glitch there. Maybe Cassidy's there to free the other spirits? Yeah. I can see that. I can see that, BJ. I'm starting to lose my voice now. Interactive novels. Very clearly canon to the games. Again, I was debating with someone, I think, on if the week before was canon. Don't know how you can read the week before and not think that's canon. It literally says prequel to the very first game. It's called The Week Before, as in the week before FNaF 1. Oh, I love this franchise. Where were we? What year do I think Into the Pit takes place? 2021. The reason I say this is because, for several reasons, oh my god, what's it called? The graphic novel has the year 2020 as like a movie title, meaning it probably takes place beyond that, and the game supports 2021. The week before, not the week after. Not the week in a separate continuity. Into the Pit loop. I don't like this theory. Into the Pit time travel. Chat. This is what I think the time travel is in Into the Pit. I've been meaning to say this at some point. I don't know if I have explained it already. There's the police outside. You can probably hear that. They're coming to arrest me because of how true I'm about to speak. I think Into the Pit is time travel, and it isn't. Let me explain. The way I see time travel in FNaF, if an event is so strong in agony, and a thing is so filled with agony, I think you can change the past. I think if there's so much agony around an event, going into the agony of that event, you can change it. In the epilogues, in the stingers, Larson directly sets up the events of Blackbird so that the story, as we read it, transpires the way Larson changed it. Return to the Pit. Oswald directly, in one of the... Moon, if you're still here, cover your ears. Cover your ears if you're still here, Moon. Oswald directly, in the secret ending, changes something that affects the real world outside of the ball pit. The game, Oswald can make changes to the past. The door is getting knocked down by Pit Bonnie. They're like that in the real world. I think Into the Pit clearly has some form of time travel, but I don't think it's as simple as, jump in the ball pit, change the past. I think it's literally just the agony around the missing children incident is so strong. Oswald is able to go in there, change events, and they affect the real world. Same with Blackbird. The agony that was spawned from Eleanor doing that. Moon, you're good. You're good, Moon. The agony around Eleanor's everything is so strong, Larson can change the past. That's how I view time travel in FNaF. I don't think it's pure Back to the Future. I mean, it is, kind of. I don't think it's like time travel like that. But that's how I view time travel. That's how I see time travel in Five Nights at Freddy's. Back to the tier list. I know... Never mind. Where was I? Jackie being the Springlock suit. Jeremy, I think Jeremy's just the victim of the bite of 87. I think that's pretty obvious. I believe it, 100%. K-Theory's kind of mid. I think Kelsey is Cassidy. I believe that 100%. L-Theories... Lake Theory's peak. I'm not going to rank it just because I just switched to Fazburger to believing that, so I haven't fully considered Lake Theory, so I won't rank that yet. Lakebook. What the hell is a Lakebook? Logbook Theories. I don't know when the logbook takes place. I don't know if it's meant to take place in FNaF 1, FNaF 3, after FNaF 3, if it's meta, so I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it with a stick. Lake Theory is the theory that, pretty much every lake we see in FNaF, so, Old Man Consequences Lake, the lake that's near the Afton and Murray house, the lake that's on the map and Into the Pit, and the lake we see in Moon.exe, they're all the same lake. I don't know about that one. Lake book. Yeah, okay. Mangle doing the bite of 87. I believe this one. I know BJ thinks it's Withered Foxy, but to me it just makes more sense if one of the toys does it. That way it explains why they get scrapped. But to be fair, Ralph does say Foxy did it in the week before. But, Mangle's technically Foxy. But I understand. MCI theories, I think MCI 85 is confirmed. Thanks to Into the Pit, thanks to the novels. Bernard B. Bearson. Hey, go Gadget, you're learning here. That's all that matters. Mike Beth. This theory's peak. Oh, bye BJ. Damn. Glitch is throwing shade. I'm not going to rank the Mike theories just because some of them are pretty obvious. I want to do like the more controversial ones. I want to see how far I can push chat with my takes until they all leave. True, Party Hat. There's no such thing as a wrong opinion, except when it comes to FNaF theorizing. Molten MCI, I think, is confirmed at this point. Most people, I would say, believe it. Monty killed Bonnie. This one's confirmed as well. A while back, one of the developers on Security Breach Ruin said in their like portfolio or whatever it was that like Monty gets electrocuted by a Glamrock Bonnie neon sign. Something ironic for fans of the lore. That's okay. If Steel Wool is good with just outright stating it, then I think it's pretty obvious Monty killed Glamrock Bonnie. Plus, there's like a million other pieces of evidence. I don't know why people think he's innocent. Pretty obvious Monty killed Glamrock Bonnie. Murray Afton House. This is obviously the theory that the Murray mansion in Secret of the Mimic becomes the Afton household. I think everyone agrees on that. I don't think I've really ever seen anyone disagree with that. N theories. Not really. O theories. Oswald's dad being the Freddy bully is a theory that I'm mixed on. I see the evidence for it with the Freddy mask falling out of the attic, and Oswald's dad doesn't like talking about Freddy's. At the same time, I can see a world where both of those are just coincidences, especially the second one. Plus, it's never brought up in any of the other retellings. I'll keep it in maybe tier. I don't hate it. I just... To me, the evidence for Oswald's dad being the Freddy bully is not anywhere near as strong as the evidence for Cassie's dad being the Bonnie bully. Which I'm just now realizing I forgot to include in there. Where is it? Yeah. There we go. Parachute cannon ending. Hey, we all got the FNAFtism. It's okay. Yeah. Do I want to say which ending I think is canon? Which ending do I think is canon? Parachute. Which one do I think has a fairly decent chance of being canon? I think, this is another hot take, I think the Storytime ending has, which I don't even know where it is on here. I think the Storytime ending isn't as unlikely as people think. I won't really go into it here because I might make a video on it. Might not. But I think I think the Storytime ending could be canon. So, I'm going to leave you guys there. I'm not elaborate further. Because I'm evil like that. Evil Bernie Bear theory. Princess Quest 3 being canon, I would say that's confirmed. Yeah, Look. In every Steel Wool Studios FNAF game, the canon ending requires you to go out of your way to do stuff. Help Wanted 1, you have to collect all the coins and tapes. That gets you the ending where you get trapped behind the wall, behind the door. In Security Breach, the canon ending requires you to go out of your way and play all the Princess Quest arcade games. Ruin, I think there's a fair argument that could be made that the Scooper ending is canon, but I don't know about that one fully. Help Wanted 2, both canon endings require you to find the Fast Force, not even find the Fast Force figures, collect them all, and find all the memories. It seems like Steel Wool's games have a trend where the canon ending requires you to go out of your way and do or find stuff. Storytime ending requires you to find all the collectibles and replay the game again. Plus, if you think that the Afton household is the Murray household, the manor being left up explains how William would be able to replicate David's bedroom as closely as he does, and it explains why the wallpapers are the same. It's not a perfect theory, but it also, if we never get a Fall Fest DLC that explains what happens to the Mimic after Secret of the Mimic before he gets scanned into Help Wanted, I don't see a problem with... Because that ending leaves the Mimic deactivated. He enters rest mode. If he's woken up decades later, scanned into a new environment, scared and confused, I can see it. Look, I'm not saying I believe it entirely, but I can see it maybe being the case. Maybe. Just maybe. Just maybe. And if we never get a continuation of Secret of the Mimic's story, I might consider it. But I do think Parachute is more likely. Anyway, now that I've scared off everyone, can we cancel Bernie? No. No. Please don't. What is Reality Bite? I don't know. Yeah, no, that's fair, Moon. Honestly, that's fine. It's not strong at all, but you know, I don't know. Plus, you know, Mimic is locked into David form in that ending, but we see him mimic, you know, Gregory and Glitch Trap. We see him mimic in the future, so probably isn't canon. By that logic, Burn Trap ending should be canon. That's fair. That's fair. That's good. That's good. That's good. That makes sense. Yes. But you know, Princess Quest. All right. We're moving on. We're moving on. I don't need to get canceled. Not yet, at least. What the hell is recycled tubes? I know I don't want to look anyone. I don't want to look any of these theories up, but I have to like. What the hell is recycled tubes? Recycled scrap metal. Okay. Sure. I don't know why that's a theory. Okay. Yeah, most of these are retrofit theory. I believe this. We're lagging here. I would say retrofit theory is confirmed. Into the Pit shows the classic animatronics at the 83, I mean, technically, at the 83/85 pizzeria. The Unwithereds have never been shown in any canon capacity, outside of, I think, just the one FNaF 6 drawing, but even then, we've already established that drawings might not be the most reliable source of information. So... these are pretty mid. Same house? Nope. Nope. Actually, where's different house? I know different house is a theory. I do want to include that. I guess they don't have it on here. That is a theory. But I guess it's just missing. Okay, when do I think Security Breach takes place? 2035. I think it's... Evidence, I would prefer if it had more strong evidence, but it just makes the most sense to me. Yeah. I do think special delivery is canon. I see zero reason for it not to be canon, outside of like. No, I don't know. I don't see any reason why special delivery wouldn't be canon. Just because we can't play it anymore, does that erase the history? No. So I don't see a problem. Shadow Freddy theories. I couldn't tell you what Shadow Freddy is. Not the Mimic, though. Shatter Victim is peak. Glitch is shamelessly promoting in my chat. No, it's fine. I am looking forward to that Pizzaplex video. Too bad it's coming out December 31st of 2026. Yeah, I do believe Shatter Victim more than Golden Duo, but again, I think it's a mix of the two. I think Sister Location happens in like 2015 or 16, but I don't know. 11:59. It's gonna come out December 31st, 11:59 p.m. with 1 second left until the new year. Secret of the Mimic loop. Not a fan of this theory either. I don't know why people love loop theories so much. I think they're super unsatisfying. Staftons, I would argue, is confirmed. Why is Staftons a real theory? That makes no sense. You know, the whole thing is like, and you know, I do kind of want to like go into this in a video about Vanessa, but like, to me, I see the Staftonbot family as Vanessa wanting to be part of a family. You know, Vanessa's whole life, she's been, in the games at least, and the movies, but, you know, talking about the games here. Her father, terrible person, and he went missing when he got spring-trapped. Her mother killed herself. She didn't have the best family. So I can see her building this recreation of the Afton family as her being like, man, I wish I had a family. I wish I had a family. You know, maybe a part of her wishes she could have been there to, like, you know, protect Elizabeth and Crying Child. But, you know, that's just how I interpret it. Little rant there. Little side tangent. So confused. I do think Vanessa is the one behind the Staffbot silo. Plus, you know, it's one. Vanny chases you into the Staffbot silo. Like, there's a little chase moment before you enter there. That's one of the very few Vanny appearances in the game. I can see that as her wanting to, like, protect her turf. Because, like, I really don't see another interpretation for the Staftonbot family other than, you know, Mimics mimicking Glitch Trap, so he'd want to build Afton's family. But, like, the fact that the mother is at the head of the table and would be directly looking across from where Vanessa would be sitting. Vanessa was probably the closest. Vanessa was the closest with her mother, so she probably felt a very strong connection to her, so she'd want to be looking directly across from the mother figure. Oh, holy peak. Glitch. Oh my god, no way. Yeah, poor Vanny. She got cut out of everything. Oh, Tales Games. The theory that you were. Tales Games Plus, however. I like Tales Games Plus. It's not confirmed, but I do believe it because I don't see any reason for stories like GGY, Didophobia, Help Wanted. No reason for those not to be canon to the games, so, you know. I don't know. Tiger. Tiger, tiger, tiger. I know on Twitter a lot of people think Tiger is just like the agony of David, but I think Tiger is David, just like straight up. But I can understand where people are coming from with Tiger agony, because I do think it's super unsatisfying to introduce a possession this early into the timeline, and especially since it doesn't go anywhere. It could pay off in the Ruin sequel, but I don't know. For now, I think Tiger is possessed by David. Yeah, Secret of the Mimic is way better than the Mimic story. Purely because it gives Fiona more of a role. Like, let's be honest here. I don't think Tiger is the Mimic, because Tiger can teleport, so obviously there's something supernatural going there. Either agony, or just straight up David. What is that? Yeah. TCHSYDCI and MCI. Toy Chica, the High School Years, Dead Children Incident, and Missing Children Incident. It's basically like Toy Chica is William Afton. Are her victims the DCI or the MCI? I think they're pretty clearly about the Missing Children Incident victims. Transity. So this theory states that Cassidy is trans and goes by Andrew. Oops. This would be canon if Scott Cawthon wasn't from Texas. No, I think Andrew and Cassidy are their own characters. This theory states that the Vengeful Spirit and the one you should not have killed are separate characters. That cannot be the case because Scott Cawthon has used them interchangeably. When he was talking about the the face in the vents, when he told us that it's the face of one of his sons, I think he called them the Vengeful Spirit, and obviously, the face appears in the vents and in the doorways. Withered Chica and Mangle and those guys say, "I have seen him, the one you should not have killed." They're pretty clearly the same character. Vengeful Spirit is just a term that's used outside of the universe. The one you should not have killed is the in-universe. They're both the same character. Two Mrs. Aftons. This is the theory that... I think it's the theory that the mother of Michael, Bite Victim, and Elizabeth is different from Vanessa's mother. I do believe that. But I don't know if I fully do. Oh jeez, that's loud. Just because we don't know what happens to Mrs. Afton. We know what happens to Vanessa's mom. She kills herself. The original Mrs. Afton we just don't know enough about, so I'm actually not going to rank that. Woke dude. Scott Woken. UCN theories. Nah, they're all kind of mid. UCN taking place at the same time as FNaF World. I do believe this. I go in more in depth in my Realms of FNaF video. I think it's just the simplest timeline placement for FNaF World, honestly. Vanessa Afton. I do believe this in the games. Just because I think the retro CDs... Like, Patient 46 / Gregory is specifically called out to be lying about their backstory. Vanessa never gets that. So her backstory is probably real, and it it lines up very well with, William being her dad. So I do 100% believe that. Scott Woke-then. Five Nights at Woke. Really, people still unironically believe Vanny is Patient 46. Don't get me wrong, I didn't hate it at the time, Like, when Security Breach first came out, I liked the duality of, like, Vanessa likes being outside, Vanny likes being inside, but it's very clearly not the case now. It never was. Will care. Obviously, this one's canon. Gibby's Horror Homestead told me this. No. Which will... What do I think... How much do I think William cared for his children? I think he viewed them as tools. I don't think he cared for them as people, just as tools and extensions of himself. Is there a theory on here that's similar to that? I don't think so. Twisted Care, maybe? But I don't know. I don't think there is. William being like trapped in UCN is confirmed by the man in room 1280. What do I think Crying Child saw? Nothing. Scott said, you know, what's seen in the mind of a child is... You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. Crying Child didn't see anything. He saw something that was nothing, and he misinterpreted it. FNaF World being canon. Look, this might be another controversial opinion, but I think the entirety of FNaF World is canon. I know some people say it's only tied to the canon, and they're not wrong. It is, obviously. But, like, I don't see the meta stuff in FNaF World as being a problem. You know, Security Breach references meta stuff with the fan games, and, you know, there's a Glitch Trap arcade cabinet for crying out loud. So I think FNaF, and Into the Pit, same way. There's references in there that MegaCat has told us, hey, some of the Easter eggs in this game are just Easter eggs. They don't have lore importance. I don't see why FNaF World can't be the same. So I do think the entirety of FNaF World is canon. Yeah. And then Yendo only has one theory for some reason. We need our will care tier. True. True. True, Sahur. We're gonna make this gray, like the color of William Afton's soul. It's not a theories tier list without the will care tier. And there we go. Obviously, this isn't all the theories I believe in, because, you know, I don't want to turn this into a 5-hour stream, but, you know, some of them. Some of the more controversial ones, like, you know, Midnight Motorist, Who Dies First. There we go. Yeah, sorry, Go-Go Gadget. If Yendo had, like, a different theory... If Yendo... If this wasn't Yendo's only theory, I would include him. Because I don't think he's the Springlock suit. There we go. Good job, chat. Another successful tier list. Again, not all the theories I believe in. Some of them were left out. But, you know. We did some of them. Alright, well, that added an extra hour and a half to the live stream. I'm okay with stopping there. Thank you guys so much for joining me on today's live stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said earlier, the expect a Flower Aftons YouTube short in the upcoming week. Peakest theory of all time. I'm really hungry right now, so I think I'm probably gonna go have some popcorn, maybe. Maybe I'll have popcorn. Bernie Bear is Michael Afton theory. Thank you, Moon. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys were here. Again, sorry this, you know, the first tier list wasn't as long as I intended it, but we got through it. Next stream will be another tier list, and it's going to be longer. I won't spoil that, though. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you all next time. Enjoy your food. Enjoy editing your video. I'll see you guys next